You think the most reliable Lexus is an RX or a GX? Think again. This underrated luxury car beats them all, and nobody sees it coming. When you think of luxury sports sedans, you usually picture German engineering, sharp handling, and unfortunately, endless check engine lights after the warranty expires. Cars like the BMW 3 Series, Mercedes C-Class, or Audi A4 are fantastic to drive when they are brand new. But fast forward 5 or 6 years, and they often turn into mechanical nightmares filled with plastic cooling parts that crack, oil leaks that cost thousands to fix, and complex electrical glitches that no one seems to understand. But there is one car that completely breaks this stereotype, and it comes from Japan. It is the Lexus IS 350, specifically the models built from 2014 all the way up to the current ones sitting on dealership floors today. Now, if you look at this car, it doesn't look like a typical, sensible, boring, reliable car. It has aggressive lines, a sharp spindle grille, dual exhausts, and a driver-focused cockpit. It looks like a high-maintenance sports sedan. But under the skin, it is a completely different story. While every other manufacturer rushed to put small, highly stressed, turbocharged four-cylinder engines into their cars to meet strict emission standards, Lexus chose a completely different path for the IS 350. They stuck with what works. Under the hood sits a legendary 3.5-liter naturally aspirated V6 engine, known internally at Toyota as the 2GR series. Lexus has been building, testing, refining, and perfecting this specific engine architecture for nearly 2 decades. Because it doesn't use turbochargers, the internal temperatures and pressures stay relatively low. There are no turbos to fail, no complex intercoolers to leak, and no carbon buildup issues that plague modern direct-injection turbo engines. Lexus paired this bulletproof V6 with a traditional, smooth-shifting automatic transmission. They didn't try to use a fragile dual-clutch system or a laggy CVT. They used a heavy-duty, torque converter automatic that just works mile after mile. When you look at long-term reliability data from J.D. Power, Consumer Reports, and high-mileage owner forums, the IS 350 routinely scores at the very top of its class. It is not uncommon to see these cars passing 200,000 or even 250,000 miles with nothing more than routine oil changes, spark plugs, and basic brake maintenance. If you choose a 2014 to 2020 model, you get a fantastic pre-owned bargain that still looks incredibly modern. If you opt for the 2021 and newer refresh, you get an updated suspension, sharper styling, and a modern touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, while keeping that exact same bulletproof powertrain. It gives you the look, the premium leather, the Mark Levinson sound system, and the driving dynamics of a true sports sedan, but with the running costs and peace of mind of a standard Toyota. It is, without a doubt, the most unexpected reliability champion in the luxury car world today. Let's say you love the idea of owning a premium vehicle, but you live in a crowded city, parking spaces are tight, and you absolutely hate spending money at the gas station. Naturally, you start looking at compact luxury crossovers. But there is a massive trap in this segment. Most entry-level luxury cars from premium brands are notoriously unreliable because manufacturers tend to cut corners on quality to keep the entry price low. They use cheaper plastics, unproven electronic systems, and fragile drivetrains. Except for the Lexus UX Hybrid, specifically the UX 250H and the newer UX 300H models produced from 2019 to the present day. When it first launched, many automotive journalists dismissed it as just a glorified, more expensive Toyota. But time has proven that the UX Hybrid is an absolute masterclass in automotive longevity and low-cost ownership. The secret weapon of the Lexus UX is its hybrid powertrain. This isn't some experimental new technology. It is the absolute pinnacle of Toyota's 4th and 5th generation hybrid systems, which have been tested over billions of miles globally in taxi fleets and daily commuters. The vehicle combines a highly efficient 2.0-liter 4-cylinder engine with powerful electric motors. Because of how this system is engineered, it eliminates many of the traditional parts that typically break down in older cars. For example, the UX Hybrid does not have a traditional starter motor. It doesn't have an alternator. It doesn't have any drive belts that can snap and leave you stranded on the side of the highway. Even the braking system is genius. When you press the brake pedal, the car uses regenerative braking, meaning the electric motors slow the vehicle down to recapture energy before the actual mechanical brakes touch. Because of this, owners routinely report that their brake pads and rotors last 2 to 3 times longer than a conventional car. On top of that, you are getting incredible fuel economy, easily averaging over 40 miles per gallon in the city. The interior is wrapped in high-quality materials, the sound insulation is excellent, and because it sits on Toyota's global 10GA platform, it handles beautifully around tight city corners. If you are looking for a modern, high-tech luxury commuter that will literally never ask for anything other than basic oil changes and cheap fuel, the Lexus UX Hybrid is the smartest choice you can make. If your ultimate goal when buying a luxury car is pure, unadulterated comfort, a whisper-quiet cabin, and a ride quality that makes you feel like you are floating on a cloud, you are probably looking at massive flagship sedans. Cars like the Mercedes S-Class, the BMW 7 Series, or even Lexus's own flagship, the LS 500. But if you talk to any master mechanic or automotive reliability expert, they will tell you that buying those flagship cars out of warranty is financial suicide. They are packed with air suspensions that fail, twin-turbo systems that bury you in labor costs, and miles of complex wiring. Instead, the smart money goes directly to the Lexus ES 350, particularly the models from 2016 onwards. The ES 350 is the ultimate executive cruiser because it offers 90% of the luxury experience of a flagship vehicle with absolutely 0% of the maintenance headaches. The secret to the ES 350's legendary status lies deep within its DNA. Underneath the premium wood trim, the ultra-soft leather seats, and the cutting-edge safety tech, the ES shares its mechanical architecture with the ultra-reliable Toyota Camry and Toyota Avalon. Now, some critics use this to call the ES just an expensive Camry, but smart buyers know this is its greatest strength. Because it shares a high-volume platform, two incredibly important things happen. First, the parts are unbelievably affordable and widely available. You don't have to wait weeks for an expensive part to arrive from Germany. Second, literally every mechanic on the planet knows how to fix this car. If you look at the 2016 to 2018 models, you get the absolute peak of the 6th-generation design, utilizing a rock-solid 3.5-liter V6 engine paired with a 6-speed automatic. If you step up to the 2019 and newer models, you get a completely redesigned, stunning exterior, a stiffer chassis, and an 8-speed automatic. Both setups are virtually flawless. There are countless examples of Lexus ES models being used as high-end airport shuttles or executive transports that have surpassed 300,000, 400,000, or even 500,000 miles on the original engine and transmission. If you want a vehicle that shields you from the chaos of the outside world, wraps you in luxury, and will outlast almost every other sedan on the road, the ES 350 is the gold standard. For the drivers who need something substantial, a serious SUV that can handle deep snow, rough off-road terrain, heavy towing, and family road trips without breaking a sweat. There is only one vehicle that sits at the absolute top of the food chain: the second-generation Lexus GX 460, specifically the models built between 2014 and 2023. In a world where modern SUVs have become fragile, unibody crossovers with plastic trim and complex electronics, the GX 460 is a glorious dinosaur. It is built like a genuine commercial truck. Underneath that luxury interior is a heavy-duty, body-on-frame chassis shared with the legendary Toyota Land Cruiser Prado, a vehicle trusted by the United Nations and military forces to cross the harshest deserts and jungles on Earth. Powering this beast is a massive, naturally aspirated 4.6-liter V8 engine paired with a traditional 6-speed automatic transmission. This powertrain is completely over-engineered. It doesn't use turbochargers, it doesn't use cylinder deactivation, and it doesn't use any modern fuel-saving gimmicks that end up breaking down after 80,000 miles. It is just raw, mechanical durability. The full-time four-wheel drive system is mechanical and robust, meaning it can take endless abuse without overheating or throwing error codes. Yes, we have to talk about the elephant in the room: fuel economy. The GX 460 drinks gasoline like water. It is heavy, it is aerodynamic as a brick, and you will visit the gas station often. But look at it this way: the money you spend on fuel is money you will never, ever spend at the mechanic. The 2014 to 2019 models offer an incredible pre-owned value with the refreshed exterior styling. If you look at the 2020 to 2023 models, Lexus finally updated the interior with a modern infotainment system and safety features. Now that the newer generations of the GX have moved away from the V8 entirely in favor of complex twin-turbocharged V6 engines, these 2014 to 2023 V8 models are becoming instant legends. They hold their value incredibly well because enthusiasts and smart buyers know that this is a tank built to survive the apocalypse. Finally, let's look at the ultimate vehicle for the everyday driver. Maybe you don't need an off-road tank like the GX, and maybe you don't want a low-slung sedan like the IS or ES. You just want the perfect mid-size luxury SUV. It needs to look premium, it needs to fit the kids and the groceries comfortably, it needs to be safe, and it needs to be a smart financial investment. If that sounds like you, your search begins and ends with the 4th-generation Lexus RX 350, built between 2016 and 2022. Lexus actually invented the luxury crossover segment back in the late 1990s with the original RX. By the time they rolled out the fourth generation in 2016, they had perfected the formula to an absolute science. There are no experimental features here. Everything on this vehicle has been tested and refined through generations of production. Under the hood of the RX 350 is the tried-and-true 3.5-liter V6 engine, producing around 295 horsepower. It provides smooth, effortless power without the lag or reliability concerns of a turbocharged engine. The cabin insulation is magnificent, blocking out almost all road and wind noise on the highway. The interior materials hold up incredibly well over time. Even on models with over 100,000 miles, the leather seats rarely crack, and the buttons look brand new. When you study the reliability databases for the 2016 to 2022 RX 350, it is almost impossible to find any major mechanical flaws. There are no widespread transmission failures, no catastrophic engine defects, and no systemic electronic gremlins. It is quite literally the safest, most logical bet in the entire pre-owned luxury SUV market. If your budget allows, try to look for a facelifted model from 2020 to 2022. Lexus moved the infotainment screen closer to the driver and added full touchscreen functionality along with standard Apple, CarPlay, and Android Auto. This update fixed the only minor complaint owners ever had about the car. When you buy a 2016 to 2022 RX 350, you are buying peace of mind. It is a vehicle that will gracefully serve your family for the next 10 years, requiring nothing more than regular fluid changes, while holding its resale value better than almost any European competitor.